This is an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File program with Peter Anthony Holder.
Julie Newmar, quite simply, is an acting icon. The original Catwoman from the Batman television series, and also, if you go back a little further, Rhoda from My Living Doll. She is a Tony and Golden Globe winning actress who has a new book out called The Conscious Catwoman Explains Life on Earth, and she joins us on the line from California. Hi, Julie.
Hello, and I'm so pleased to be here somewhere.
We're so pleased to have you. We're so pleased to have you. You've written this book, The Conscious Catwoman Explains Life on Earth, and why write this book now?
Well, it's not a tell-all. It's not a Hollywood embarrassing kind of thing. It's really because people want to know what it's like being inside someone who lives the kind of life that I live. I mean, not just how you look, but why things turn out the way they do. It's a how-to book. That's what it is.
When you look back at your life and career, are you surprised by the things you've managed to do in the time that you've been acting?
I think the answer is a sweet yes. I am surprised because of the many lives. Sometimes they say the 9 lives, or I say the 9+ lives now, since Batman, which was now its 45th anniversary.
You had a role on Batman when you play Catwoman that even in this day and age, grown men turn into little boys talking to you.
I've noticed that. And their fathers and their grandfathers. And sometimes someone will walk up to me on the street and say, "Miss Newmar, did you know that you were my first turn-on?" And then I gather up enough courage to ask them how old they were. And surprisingly, it gets younger. And now it's about the ages of 4 or 5. So there's a kind of connection to what the world will be like in the future, that it's okay, a little dangerous, but still fun to be in, a good place to play.
Well, what was it like when that first started happening to you, when guys would come up and say, "You're my first turn-on"?
But they're always polite, and I think it's quite an admission, but you can see more or less what they're thinking in their eyes, I've noticed. And it's a huge compliment. I've never, ever received this statement as anything less than a compliment, a high compliment indeed.
I mentioned that you won a Golden Globe. I mentioned that you won a Tony. So obviously your acting career goes well beyond Catwoman, but you're so tied to that role, and you've even put that title in your book. Was it something that The Conscious Catwoman, was it something you consciously have decided to keep as part of your persona?
The truth is what the public sees in me or anyone else, and Catwoman being most attributed to me is, it catches the eye. And I even made the word Catwoman the bigger word on the cover. The fact that it says The Conscious Catwoman Explains Life on Earth is just to kind of give it a little more humorous fillip, if you follow me. It's kind of advice and good things to do and things you might cut out and put on your icebox to stay at the right weight. Or it's my favorite of all books was the how-to books. Those are the books I grew up on, so I just thought I'd write one.
I mentioned the Tony Award, and we should mention you won the Tony Award for, I believe it was The Marriage Go Round, is that correct?
Yes, right, on Broadway. I was 24. It was my first acting role. I just happened to be in the best of company with Claudette Colbert and Charles Boyer. Have a wonderful director, a brilliantly funny script, and they handed it to me. What can I say?
And you've had other Broadway roles too, and I'm just curious how you feel about the fact that you've had some big roles on Broadway, but in some cases, other women got to play those roles on film.
Well, I was Stupefying Jones in Little Abner. I played that on film. I played Katrin Steg, the marriage girl. I played that on film. Let me see. What did I not play on film?
What about Silk Stockings?
Oh, that was just a starting part. I had a very tiny role in that. And that was finally done, not my part, but the lead part. Let me see.
Sid Charisse?
Who did that? Sid Charisse did it, yes. She played this wonderful Russian spy. The Great Garbo did it in the first film version of that. But then it became a musical, which was written by Cole Porter. Mm-hmm.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer film, television, or the Broadway stage?
Actors almost unanimously will say they prefer the stage because there's so much give back from the audience. And it's like you're with real people. So you have a real sense of life there. And it's lovely to hear people laugh at something. It's the audience is the reward.
Being an icon, there are not too many people who get their name in the title. Not above the title, but in the title of a movie. Tu Wong Fu, Julie Newmar.
That was quite fun, and it's become popular down through the years. It's about 15 years old. Greta Garbo had her name in a title. I think there have been one or two others, come to think of it.
John Malkovich was another.
Yes, right. Well, they made fun of me, but lovingly so. And it was they emulated the style, or maybe it was my height. I don't know. It was great fun, and that's what entertainment is mainly about.
In the Hollywood of your youth, how do you see it different from what passes for Hollywood today?
People have asked me that many times, and why Batman has taken on such a dark trend. But come to think of it, the show that I did came before the Vietnam era, and that changed America a lot. We got lost in a lot of the folly of these wars that we've been perpetrating in the last couple of decades, and it's turned our entertainment and some of our social behavior in a downward trend, and it's quite noticeable. And people do seem to prefer the happier days, or the days when the rest of the world looked upon us favorably, at least up until the end of the 60s. So that's my take on it. And of course, there's a lot more pyrotechnics, all the explosions and the ear-deafening noises that happen there. For many of us, kids like it, but I think it kind of wastes our energy. I prefer a very good storyline. I prefer good writing. Mm-hmm.
One of the things you talk about in your book, The Conscious Catwoman Explains Life on Earth, and you have a lot of pearls of wisdom to share, but you say women bloom later in life.
Well, I hope so. I mean, you just get started in your 20s. You just begin to learn. And what is it? We're all in the 1 century now. We're living almost 3 times as long. So we've got to take care of ourselves and let the rest of the world love us this way. It's important that we do the right thing, I think. Think the better thought. Spend our time with joy rather than criticism, and not a good level of self-love.
Well,
that's important.
There are many fans out there, and mostly men, who would probably think that you came along full-bloomed many, many years ago and have stayed that way all this time. The book is The Conscious Catwoman Explains Life on Earth. It's written by Julie Newmar, and people can take a look at Julie's website as well, which is julienewmar.com. I thank you very, very much for being on the program with us.
Well, thank you, Peter. It's been a delight. Thank you.
Actress Julie Newmar, best known for her iconic role as the original Catwoman on TV's Batman, and the author of The Conscious Catwoman Explains Life on Earth. You can visit her website at julienewmar.com, and you can also go to my website at thestufffile.com. Go to the What's On page for this show, which is show number 0105, and you'll find links to her site and also links to Amazon.com, where you can order her book directly.
You've just heard an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File program with Peter Anthony Holder. To hear any or all of the full hour-long shows, visit thestufffile.com. Stuff is spelled S-T-U-P-H. That's thestufffile.com. A presentation of Flying Fish Communications.